Hello, everyone at home. We're just about to start. So if you want to raise a topic or speak, please indicate with a hand so that we know.
Morning, Ajahn.
Nina, would you like to start with the topic?
Well, yes, about, let me think. Nimitta. We live in the world of nimitta. Ajahn often repeats this, but I find it a difficult subject, and it's always good to hear more about it.
What you see now?
What you see now, visible object.
Really?
I can repeat it, but do I really understand? No.
Until it appears as just visible object.
Yeah. Until it appears as visible object, you say, yes. But now it is still a chair or a person, and many different things we take for something.
Is it just in one moment?
Is it something?
Is it just in one moment? Everything appears as
Just
stable.
in one moment, yeah. We don't realize that it is so fast, so quickly.
Mhm.
It seems to stay.
Hello, can you hear me? Yes, I think Nina Ajahn is asking, does it appear to be just one moment of
Just for a moment.
of what is seen, or does it appear to be obviously if not, does it appear to be continuous?
It seems to be continuous, right? But that's not the truth.
So not just one moment, but we're trying to, you asked about nimitta.
Yes.
Why does it appear to be continuous rather than just a moment?
Yes, right. It seems to be continuous. So we are tricked by ignorance and attachment.
Well, I think it's not so much that the the person who is enlightened will also not see things as just a single moment. He or she will still experience the world as not the world as experienced by the enlightened being is not broken into momentary realities, is it?
That will be unnatural. It has to be natural.
Yes. But even the purpose of understanding is not so that the world is experienced as single moment realities. That could never be the case, could it? So even for the enlightened being, experiencing people and things, or the idea of the concept of people and things, there is still some apparent continuity. Although there's no misunderstanding about the nature of things. But for the enlightened being, the world isn't broken up into separate moment realities. So the enlightened being, for example, sitting in a room or watching, being part of this gathering, there are still faces and objects that are identified as such, and appear to
That is a delicate point, very subtle.
but this is the point about the nimitta. It's the world of nimitta for everyone, and it's not because of wrong view that it's the world of nimitta. It is the world of nimitta because that's the way things are. The eradication of wrong view doesn't mean that there is no longer any continuity or apparent lastingness, but there's no misunderstanding about the true nature of reality. But of course, the being who has eradicated all wrong view, when they are listening to someone speak, there's a continuity of the sound of the voice. And so because everything is happening so quickly, and the eradication of wrong view doesn't mean that things don't happen quickly anymore. Can we say that?
This is difficult point.
So what's your understanding of how the world is experienced by an enlightened being then?
It couldn't be continuous because it is realized that each moment is so fast, so quickly it passes away.
I think we know that that has been realized by the enlightened being.
Yeah,
It doesn't mean that for the enlightened being, every moment is seen as arising and falling away.
ooh, I don't know.
That wouldn't be possible. Think of how many moments of consciousness are arising and the experiencing through all the different sense doors. You think the enlightened being sees all that happening separately and independently of each other sense door?
Difficult.
What about at moments of ignorance, just like now, not knowing anything about reality at those moments? At moments of ignorance, nothing is understood about hearing what is heard, but no wrong view arising, but still ignorance and lobha and dosa, when there's no understanding of how the world is at those moments, just not knowing. So at the first stage of enlightenment, only the ignorance of that level with the wrong understanding is eradicated.
Yes, but for the art.
No more ignorance.
So,
But for the Arahat, everything is still arising and falling away just as rapidly. That doesn't mean that the Arahat experiences each and every moment as it arises and falls away. Otherwise, it wouldn't be really possible to function in the world, because the Arahat needs to be able to communicate and relate to other people as you and I do. But what the difference is, there's no wrong understanding behind it all, at the base of it all. So there's no taking anything for being any more real than it is. But the when the Arahat is eating, for example, it's still a plate of food, and it's still a fork and spoon that's lifting it into the mouth.
at the same time, I think, at the same time, there's a plate of food, but at the same time also each moment falls away. No contradiction.
But are you saying the Arahat sees each moment falling away?
But there is no ignorance.
Right? There's no ignorance
Kiriya
and there's no
Chitas
wrong view.
and the Kiriya Chitas of the Arahat don't all arise with understanding. What about at moments of kindness or generosity, for example? The Kiriya Chitas of the Arahat, but not necessarily with understanding at those moments. So there's no understanding of reality at those moments, just moments of kindness or generosity. And at moments of seeing and hearing and other Vipaka Chitas, such as the Sampaticana and Sankirana, no understanding at those moments.
There is a change of chitas. Sometimes they fall away, and sometimes the person, he thinks of the person he has kindness for.
Because understanding doesn't arise with every
Moment.
Kiriya
No,
Chita
not
that
every
replaces the
moment
Kusala
of
Chita.
vipaka. No, that's true. That's true.
Still thinking kindly about the person and passing the fork or giving consideration to others' needs, but no understanding necessarily at those moments.
That's right.
Can I
Yeah.
make another observation? And the understanding that leads to the cessation of dukkha is the understanding that sees the true nature of realities of life in samsara. So it's the understanding of the characteristics of conditioned realities, the conditioned nature of things that is developed to higher and higher degrees. This is not the same as saying that there is more and more seeing of individual jittas as they arise and fall away, because that's not the kind of understanding that leads to the cessation of dukkha. It's seeing that the nature of all realities in samsara as being anicca, dukkha, anatta. That is developed to a very high degree, that conditions the insight, the path insight. And that sees the worthlessness of life in samsara and the unsatisfactory nature of it.
So, Jonathan, Nina, may I just interrupt for a moment and just ask Jonathan something along the lines of what he's just commented on? So, Jonathan, is that a specific, that insight that you've just described, is it a specific moment or a series of moments? What can we say about the power of that insight to bring about that eradication of ignorance and that penetration into the nature of reality, the recognizing the characteristics of reality? How can we describe that? If it's not, I'll just stop there. I'll just stop. How can we describe it?
I think I can only say that it starts very weak and it just develops stronger and stronger over a long period of time. So I'm not sure what. So it gradually develops.
It's cumulative. Yes, it makes sense that it's cumulative, but it would seem that there is a moment when there's a kind of a certain level is reached, so that penetration, that insight comes about.
Right. Well, that has to happen at a particular moment, doesn't it?
Yes.
Breakthrough moment of each of the 4 moments of path consciousness.
And those moments are sufficient in themselves for it not to be necessary, as you've said, to have to see every moment rising and falling or whatever. Those moments are sufficient.
Well, there has been sufficient seeing of conditioned dhammas arising and falling for the inference to be drawn that this is the nature of all conditioned dhammas. So that obviously, again, is something that comes at a point which we can't say anything more about.
Mm.
And it's
Mm.
when it happens, it happens.
Mm.
But there is obviously the knowing of a number of different realities and rising and falling away and all these things that we are talking about. But this conditions the knowing of the characteristic of anicca. The rise and fall is just the anicca characteristic.
Mm.
So it's as I understand it, the 3 characteristics are known to an ever deeper degree as understanding further develops.
Mm.
And to the stage where that those characteristics can be imputed to all realities. That's about all I can say.
If there's not the understanding of the reality now that appears, the hardness, visible object, whatever it is that appears, there cannot be the deeper, clearer understanding that understands the arising and falling away of that reality. And without that understanding, there cannot be the understanding of the unsatisfactoriness, the danger of realities, and so on. So the understanding has to develop on and on from the wise considering about realities now, so that it becomes firmer and firmer and eventually clearer and clearer.
John has said from time to time, and we talked about this morning, that there are some realities are never known, like Passa, for example, and others presumably are more commonly known by the person developing understanding. But there's no rule as to which and how many and to what extent different realities are to be known. But the knowing, the seeing of realities as they are, as I understand it, doesn't change the fact that the world is that people are still known as people and things are still known as things. But the underlying view of the way things are has changed radically. But the person still living in the world, in some respects, in the same way as you and I are living in the world, eating and drinking and relating to communicating with other people, and that doesn't change. There doesn't have to be special effort to do those things, just because there is the understanding that it's just the different realities, all of which are conditioned and have no inherent substantiality to them.
Thank you.
What is nimitta? If we don't know nimitta, how can we say that we live in the world of nimitta? So what is meant by nimitta? It's not just the idea or the word, but it's a truth. So we have to understand clearer from the very beginning, what is nimitta? What does it mean, nimitta? Can we say common people just think about nimitta as the mark and the sign of something, like in a dream, nimitta. When it's not true, it's just the nimitta, not the real one. But without any reality arising, appearing, can there be nimitta? So nimitta is just the idea about everything from birth, about whatever is experienced, seen, heard, and so on, thought about, nimitta. So it means that in order to understand that we live in the world of nimitta, there must be the true nature of that, which condition what we take for nimitta. For example, now without seeing, can there be nimitta of what is seen? No seeing at all. No nimitta, because nothing is seen. But what is seen is not as it is at all. Because what is seen is only a reality which can be seen only. Can it be thought about? That is the idea, but not that which is seen. Even thinking, nimitta of thinking, many moments of thinking about what has been experienced before, until there's nimitta of that object. So the nimitta is the sign of that which is there, unknown, arising and falling away. Since it's not known as it is, it's known as only nimitta of that which is seen. So now there is nimitta of table, nimitta of many things, but what is there which is seen? Only that which can be seen, that which impinges on the eye base, and at moment of thinking about the shape and form of that which arises and falls away from dot to dot, condition, shape, and form to be taken for something. That's why nimitta of everything which is there, arising and falling away, not just only one, but many, many moments, condition, nimitta of that object, never through the eyes or ears or nose or tongue or body, or even thinking of nimitta, the word, thinking about the word, or before that, thinking about the shape and form, nimitta. That's why whatever is appearing is nimitta of that which arises and falls away so very quickly. No one can imagine, because each dot now seen has to be there, rising and falling again until it conditions, shape and form to be known of something. And we take that as nimitta of that which has arisen and fallen away. That's why we always live in the world of nimitta. But when there is the understanding without the absolute or the ultimate truth of a reality, there will never be nimitta at all. If citta does not arise, if it does not experience anything, how can there be thinking of the nimitta? So nimitta itself is not the seeing. See, this is a subtle reality in a moment that we have to carefully thinking about it again and again and again in all aspects to really understand the very subtle truth. What is there now? No one, see, only nimitta, until it's so firm, no doubt about it, gradually, little by little, that what in life is seen only color. See, is it true? Just live in the world of color and thinking about the nimitta of that which is seen, taking it for something and someone in all one's life. Live in the world of nimitta. Otherwise, how can the wrong understanding will let go the idea of I and people and things and the world? And that can be conditioned to let go, clinging to what appears little by little, because it's not there anymore. Only memory keeps on thinking about it, cling to it, that which is not there at all. Sunyata. So one lives in the world of nimitta, of that which has been conditioned to arise in false way all the time. So now, no kunmef, only colors, see, different color, different shape and form to be remembered as someone, something, and everything, every day, every moment. That's why I learned to understand the enormous ignorance, no understanding of the truth of what is there from moment to moment, adding more and more ignorance and attachment. So how long will it take for right understanding to develop to the degree that it can realize the truth of nimitta of a reality? Because just only one single unit or moment cannot be known at all. Because patisanti citta is just one moment. See, how can it be known? And the moment followed cannot see yet. That's why we learn to understand what is taken for life and the world in truth, or animitta. When the truth is not experienced, even it's experienced, it appears as nimitta, because just one moment arising and falling away cannot be known. Only the moments of seeing and seeing and seeing again and again condition the understanding of seeing that is not hearing and is thinking. That's why Buddha said, whatever arises appears as nimitta. So now, every moment is moment of living in the world of nimitta, gradually letting go the idea as permanent reality or objects or whatever. How many moments of seeing now to be known as seeing? Even talking about seeing never appears, because it will appear to right understanding at the degree that it can understand that which is now always there from moment to moment, experiencing that which is experienced right now. So be truthful to the truth. It's there all the time, from moment to moment, conditioned to be different moment of experiencing different object in life. A moment ago, it's there, experience an object, but it's not known. So the nimitta of that which is seen or experienced appear as something or someone. The nimitta of that which arises in false way, in truth, it's completely gone, never to return. And that's the meaning of living the world of nimitta.
Ajahn, does there need to be an understanding of nimitta as it appears through each doorway? I mean, we talk about seeing probably more than anything else. But in order to develop the understanding that is enough to understand, well, going back to what Jonathan was saying about being able to recognize the characteristics of reality, of the realities that appear, does that extend to each of the doorways, or is it sufficient to just occur, say, by understanding the nimitta of seeing and inferring that must also be for touch and hearing and taste and the other doorways?
No matter what doorways,
Does it matter?
it doesn't.
Does it need to be all? I think that's the question.
So whatever conditioned to arise appears as nimitta, not only one single moment or reality, no matter through what doorway. All conditioned realities arising and falling away appears as nimitta, even in vipassana. Because what is meant by vipassana is mean that it experiences with clear understanding of the truth. For example, we talk about seeing right now, and seeing is there right now, but no understand of the seeing at all from birth to death. We talk about seeing consciousness, hearing consciousness. The consciousness of the citta cannot be other reality, it cannot be cetasika. But the nature of that now sees does not appear. But there can be the development of understanding it. Otherwise, there must be the idea of I see, I think, I hear, I remember every time. But since all realities are different by their natures, that's why the reality which is the chief from birth, arising, experiencing an object clearly, while the other reality arising together has their own natures and functions different from that which now sees that which is seen clearly, but it does not appear. So the object which is seen appears as nimitta, and even seeing now, when we think about it or it says, it appears as nimitta, not just one moment. That's why in truth, even right now, panya, without panya, can anyone know when is the sense law process and when is the mind law process? And bhavanka in between. That's why all appears as nimitta all the time, no matter through what way. But from learning and understanding the truth, how many processes of mind law after one sense law. So, and all among processes of experiences, what is there in life? Only one reality can be seen. What is seen now only can be seen. So think the moment when there's no seeing, only thinking. See, that which is seen cannot be seen because no seeing. But there can be the moment of thinking by memory about what is seen before. Even so, nimitta again and again and again. So in order to understand, to begin to be aware of the characteristic which now arises and see, it needs words about it again and again, that it's not that which appears as the object of seeing, which is only visible object of color. See, life is in the moment, not as now. What is seen cannot be taken for anything, and that which experiences is not that which is seen, different nature, different characteristics. And usually in a day, there is attention just to that which appears, not the seeing at all. Even at moment of attachment, aversion, or pleasant feeling, or anything, the seeing itself does not appear. While it experiences or realities from day to day, from moment to moment. That's why I begin to think about that, which is not Cetasika or Rupa, but it now sees. And how can it be known? From hearing and considering. As long as that which is seen still appear, the reality which experiences does not appear and cannot appear, because there must be only one object at a time. For example, right now, what is seen is there, no thought about that which sees, but it's there. So in order to understand it as that which is seen, it's the moment of beginning to understand the nature of a reality which sees, little by little, from moment to moment by conditions, until it appears. Otherwise, what is meant by citta, nupassana satipatthana, the development of understanding citta itself as no one, not any cetasika, only that which is achieved of experiencing what is there any moment in life. Different conditions for it to experience that which is not known at moment of bhavanka. No idea who am I, what is where, and where is what at all. But there must be moments conditioned by the object which impinge, for example, seeing on the eye base. So the reality which is the chief of experiencing is there to experience different objects. But it's the reality which is the chief of experiencing only from birth. But the object is different by different conditions for it to perform different functions. Perform the function of seeing at moment when that which impinges on the eye base is there, and performing the function of hearing, see, experiencing, just experiencing what is there in life. And if there's no thinking about it, it will never appear at all. From now, or even now, see, it does not appear yet. But thinking about that which is seen is not that which sees. Little by little, until it conditions the beginning of being aware with understanding at moment of experiencing hardness. It's not hard. It's that which is there. Experience it. So when it appears, hardness does not appear. So at moment when hardness does not appear, is there any moment? At moment of touching? Not yet, until it's there, beginning to be thought about, beginning to attend to the characteristic which is there, no shape, no form. And when it appears, what is the world? Nothing appeared at all, because right understanding begins to develop the understanding of the truth of it, which doesn't have shape, no form, or smell, or taste, or attachment, or aversion, or ignorance. It's pure nature, which is a chief of experiencing, and that is appearing well. To that degree of understanding, no doubt about the nature of that, which doesn't have shape, no form, or anything at all, only experiencing. So the world is gone, no one, no tree, not anything at all, only the moment of experiencing. So when the question is asked, what is there now?
That which experiences.
There must be that which experience, but it does not see, it does not hear, but it's there experiencing.
So when you say to think about that,
Little by little,
what is the actual object of that thinking? It's not seeing, it's not visible object. It's the thinking about that which experiences, but what is the thinking about it that
that's why we learn about the difference between any kind of reality. Even the chief, the one now which sees, is a reality, not any kind of mental factor, not phassa, not feeling, not sanya, not anything else. It experiences instantly when there are conditions for it to arise, just arise to see. So when the object which is seen usually appear, does not appear, because there's attention to that which has no shape, no form at all. It's there now, experiencing hardness. It's now experiencing sound, little by little. That's right. Right understanding understands how much ignorance accumulated from moment to moment in darkness of ignorance, all about nimitta. But what condition nimitta? Without that which experiences an object, there will never be nimitta of anything at all. That's why it's not easy at all to begin to consider the truth of a reality which is achieved from birth, arising and falling away, experience different objects by different conditions. So now at moment of thinking is there, at moment of hearing is there, at moment of tasting is there. Who think about it? And thinking is not attending to the nature of that. And there must be conditions for that moment too. Without hearing and have more confidence of the truth, there will never be a moment of attending to that reality which is the chief of experiencing any time, no matter where one is sleeping or waking up or any time, it's there. Different ones by conditions. That's why we learn about Cittanupassana Satipatthana. What is the first? See, at moment of attachment, it experiences the object of attachment, but it cannot be attached. It just performs its function as that which experiences the object. But when attachment arises, the nature of it can be known. I like it. I like that object so much. See, but what about that which experience the object, which is the object of attachment in that very moment? That's why no one can do anything but hearing again, considering again, and understanding the different levels of understanding. Conditioned truthfulness. How much understanding of what is there now? To develop more and more understanding little by little.
Ajahn, I know you say this often about attending, and I know I've asked you before about attending, that there is no one to attend. But when you say attending, what are you meaning? What are you thinking about? What's the nature of attending?
Yeah, attention, please. Who doesn't know the meaning? Attention, please. It's there already, but it's not strong enough to be known that it's attention. Because it arises and attend to the object as a condition for that moment to arise. It's there. That's why we talk about many words without understanding the nature of it. No one doubt about attention, please. No
Well,
one.
we understand. I mean, if we say to children, pay attention,
Yeah. Mhm.
What we are saying is, don't think about anything else. There's just one thing.
Yeah.
Just one thing there, and it's that quality. Is that right? Is that it's not diffused. It doesn't have words to describe it, or thinking, or right.
That's why we learn to understand the nature of the truth from the word, but not just take the word to be studied, that it's known, but it has to be considered the reality, the meaning, the nature, the aspects of what is there. One word. That's why chitta has different words for it by different meanings too. Like the innermost. See, where is it? Chitta. What is that? It's not chitta.
Morning we were talking about wise and unwise attention, manasikara. This manasikara at every moment, but when the chitta is kusala, it is yoniso, wise attention. So when Ajahn mentions attend to the characteristic of reality, actually it's pointing to yoniso manasikara, wise attention. And when we talk about attending to the noise heard or to what someone's talking about with regard to their family situation, usually it's akusala, so ayoniso manasikara, so no one attending, but it is manasikara that arises with every chitta and can be wise or unwise. And the question you asked about considering, so moments of considering, it is the chitta itself which thinks, which is the chief and experiencing the idea that is thought about, but it has to be assisted by manasikara and the vitaka and sanya and all these other chaitasikas we've talked about, chaitana and so on. But chitta is there as the chief, as the leader in experiencing that object. And the question you asked at the beginning, now it depends on conditions and accumulations as to what reality is considered wisely. Maybe for one it's sound, maybe for one it's visible object or color, depending on accumulated tendencies. And it's the same when it is the direct understanding of reality, when the object appears well, as Ajahn mentioned. It depends on conditions and accumulated tendencies as to what appears well, whether sound, hearing, hardness, depends on that at that very moment. And even when it is vipassana jnana and the object appears very clearly, there has to be the clear understanding of different namas and rupas, but not all namas and rupas. Again, it depends on conditions and accumulations as to what appears clearly. And this is actually leading to a question Hung wants to ask Ajahn, because there has to be, after that clear understanding, there has to be the applying. That means the direct understanding of other realities. That is much clearer than before the moments of vipassana jnana, because other realities have to be understood clearly. So this is what is being referred to. So would you like to ask your question? So does that answer your point before?
Yes, thank you.
It
I
all depends.
really I appreciate Ajahn and Sarah. Thank you very much.
It's okay now. Ajahn, is related to the right understanding as a different level. It's vipassana jnana and parinya. So it's mentioned in the book written by Sarah. They say that it's object is had to be understood clearer at the level of parinya than vipassana jnana. And there's a sentence say that it's, the object should be is applied clearer than to other object of right understanding. Sorry,
Exactly.
not
what
exactly.
it
Yes,
says.
yes, yes.
So we're talking about the clear understanding of realities at vipassana jnana. So it's clearer than when it's the moments of satipatthana before those objects have appeared clearly. But there has to be the clear understanding of other realities that haven't appeared clearly before. And this is what is meant by the applying of the understanding. No one doing anything, but other realities appear clearly at those moments of parinya.
Parinya.
And the question?
The question is how it can be applied, yes, and to another object. Is this the same object or another
What
object?
do you mean? How? What?
It's still unclear, Ajahn.
Clear to what?
Clear for understanding.
Only. And is there understanding now clearly?
Not clear yet.
And what is meant by clearly? Or beginning to appear clear
Beginning to
now?
not now. Mhm.
Only one object at a time.
Can we say that suppose there is the first understanding occurs of a Dhamma as anicca, for example, in a particular sense. So then when panya arises and takes another conditioned reality as object, there is the possibility that having experienced the anicca-ness in respect of one reality, panya would then be able to experience the anicca-ness of the other reality. So, and the same for each advance in understanding, because when one conditioned reality is seen more deeply, say anicca, dukkha, anatta, something more deeply than before, that doesn't automatically mean that all other realities are then seen in the same way. So it has to be, they have to be seen or will be seen in that as and when they become object of the understanding. But since panya has already experienced one reality to that depth of understanding, then there may be conditions for other realities to also be experienced to that depth of understanding.
maybe the clear understanding of seeing and what is seen, the visible object, and the clear understanding of the distinction, but there has to be the clear understanding of hearing and sound, that understanding that has been realized has to be applied to other realities. Not enough just to clearly understand the seeing and what is seen. All kinds of realities have to be understood very clearly.
So it's not an applying in the sense, conventional sense that we think of. It's more that relating, being able to relate the same understanding to other realities. But it's Panya itself that does the applying or relating.
As to how, by conditions naturally, never any one or any practice or any method, just naturally by conditions, when hardness is clearly understood, conditions for heat or other realities to be clearly understood, that's all.
Does Chitta appear now? Does it appear clearly? See, it hasn't appeared yet. And when it appears without understanding, no understanding of that at all, as a reality which experiences an object. Like when we ask about what is there, see, who thought about the reality which is there, experiences unknown object, because object does not appear together with that which experiences it. So at the moment when nothing appears, Chitta appears. What about doubt about it? No understanding it even is there. That's why we learn to understand the nature of a reality, which just arises to experience. No world, no other thing together at all. Imagine. Different from now. Completely. It's clear by then. Otherwise, there's no word vipassana. Even satipatthana is not vipassana. And talking about the nature of that which experiences is not vipassana. It's only intellect understanding about the difference between citta and cittasika and other realities. So nothing appears clear now. It's the world of nimitta. And even it appears clear only by way of nimitta. How deep it is. And then at that moment, less doubt. Not completely no doubt.
Usually we try to understand what cannot be known now. For example, many friends have been asking about what is meant about the understanding the danger of realities. But if there's no understanding of the arising and falling away of realities, there cannot be the understanding of why all conditioned dhammas are dangerous. And if there's no understanding of any reality clearly, there cannot be the understanding of the arising and falling away. So it all has to come back to now and the big development of understanding now. Otherwise, we keep thinking and doubting about what cannot actually be known yet, instead of understanding the thinking now, the doubt now, the what is seen now, what is touched now. And Owen, do you have anything you would like to bring up today? Anything you find interesting today?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, but she asked about if anything interesting. Of course, all are interesting because it's very difficult to really understand what it is one by one. So one question that I would like to ask from this morning when Kun Eve, I have a little talk withท่านอาจารย์ about memory and accumulations. About memories and accumulations. I understand a little bit more that sanya, like in the memory, is not accumulating, but it's depending on it's happen. I mean, it's arise together with one, is it? I'm still not.
So
clear.
what did Buddha say? Not one's own thoughts.
Yeah, that's
See.
why I want, please explain more.
So it depends on its jati, like we said this morning, 4 jatis, vipaka, kusala, akusala, or kiriya. So sanya arises at every moment. So with each kusala, akusala, vipaka, kiriya, chitta, when it is result, when it is vipaka, it's just result, finished. It doesn't accumulate. When it is kiriya, we're not talking about the arahat, we're talking about the kiriya chittas now in daily life. It doesn't accumulate. So when we're talking about the sanya, the memory accumulates, it has to be the kusala or akusala sanya. For example, the memory about the ingredients of cooking, the memory of how the different ingredients are to be placed. That sanya accumulates. So it conditions the thinking about how to prepare the dish, how to cook, and so on. Without the accumulated sanya from considering and thinking again and again, there couldn't be the thinking, there couldn't be the preparing of that particular dish. So now the sanya, with understanding about what is being heard, the wise considering, it's accumulating so that that sanya can condition more wise considering later and tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow there will be thinking about the different kinds of manasikara because of sanya that has been accumulated to condition that thinking. So it's now, it's daily life at this very moment.
Okay, so that sanya accumulate. I mean, that's in with while the understand, it's accumulate.
Yes. And when
with memory.
it is the memory, when it is the kira sanya, I don't know if you've heard that expression, the firm remembrance, it is the condition for sati to arise, awareness of reality. Without that firm remembrance about what is the object of awareness, there cannot be the development of awareness and understanding. So without hearing the Buddha's teachings and thinking and accumulating wise remembrance of what has been heard, there cannot be the development of sati and panya. And this is why
Also accumulate. How's that?
If it's arise together with understanding, no, it doesn't accumulate. It just arise to function its part and just that's it. Yes, okay.
Otherwise, everything accumulates. Vitaka, phasa.
Okay. It takes time.
Because it has its own characteristic and its own function. Whenever it arises, it performs a function of marking and remembering. That's all. Nothing more to be done. Just arise, marks and remember.
Okay, so let's say the difference between the two cups, the size of the two cups. So that's mean the memory of the shape and form of each moment.
Does it want to do that?
Yeah,
Or-
maybe it is.
It's nature just to arise and perform that function.
Right. Okay. So what's really accumulating? It's just kusala and akusala. The one that Sarah and John always mention about accumulate tendency. That's why I'm a little bit confused on this.
So what is tendency?
That's good.
Vitaka, phasa, or what?
Very good question, Canada. Very difficult.
And how do we know that it's accumulated?
Yeah, that's very good question. How do we know that it's accumulated?
What about the anusaya and asaya?
That one, when it's have the right proper condition, then it shows that what has been accumulated, is it?
Does phasa itself want to phasa?
No.
But is there any moment of wanting something to be experienced again and again?
No. Pasa not wanting.
But is there a reality which
Yes.
just want whatever is experienced to be there again and again? Not to phasa. That's why we learn about different characteristic and different
Mhm.
function of each reality.
Wanting to experience the taste of mango again and again.
Mhm.
So that
Oh,
wanting
that-
to
I
experience
see,
that
that's
taste
accumulate.
accumulate.
That's accumulated. Okay. I got it.
It's not phasa which wants
Want.
to
Mhm.
phasa again.
That's very good. Very
It
good
has to
point.
be the passa at each of those
Yes, yes.
moments. We're never
Mhm.
wanting passa is there.
But I remember the taste is good.
So do you want phasa or do you want to experience that object?
I want to experience that object.
Sanya must be there with the wanting, remembering what one would like to taste.
Mhm. So the craving to that taste is accumulated. Okay.
Why that taste and not another taste?
Mhm.
Because of that accumulated
Accumulate.
wanting with memory and with contact with all these other cetasikas, with vitaka, thinking about that particular object. And the chitta is
Right.
there at each of those moments as the chief in experiencing that object.
Right.
So these are the accumulated tendencies now in each moment.
It's so far away
Something.
from the point where it just a taste. Right.
Craving just craves the taste. So craving doesn't know that it's the taste of mango, for example. That's
Yeah.
memory.
Craving is memory. I mean, memory, remember. Sorry, John, can you repeat that again?
Craving craves the taste, but it's not craving that knows that it's the taste of mango. It just craves that taste without being able to relate it to a particular object. So
Sure.
that's where memory comes in.
Oh, okay. Okay. ขอบคุณค่ะ
So Ajahn, according to accumulating, you're discussing, besides the kusala and akusala to be accumulated, we have a sanya to be accumulated too.
Now, would you like to touch or test?
You have heard of the person who can speak many languages or learn languages very quickly, different languages very quickly.
Very quickly, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what makes that possible?
I think it's a sanya memory. Yes. Mm.
It couldn't be. Or we talked earlier this morning about the person who has skill in musical skill, for example. So that has to be memory too, doesn't it?
About sanya vikalasa at most moments.
Yeah.
So it's a kusala sanya. So sanya is kusala or akusala at those moments of thinking about pleasant or unpleasant taste. And that clinging to the taste is accumulated with the memory about it.
Yeah.
The akusala marking and memory of that particular taste.
Thank you. It's clear enough.
And it's possible you think about a song, keep playing, you cannot even stop it. Right? You want to stop, but you cannot stop it.
Truth, what is the object of craving? Rasa or what? Or that which one likes very much?
Lots of different things.
Yes, including nama and rupa.
Truth, does Pasa just want to Pasa again and again?
No.
At moment of attachment is not Pasa.
Yes. Right.
Is anything you'd like to bring up today? I know this morning you were going to speak at one time, I think. Or yeah, anything else you'd like to bring up?
I think I have more, but yeah, I did ask about this before. Let me go back to my old notes. After that, one thing I learned yesterday and reinforced today is that when Ajahn teaches, we learn all the ways that we can, that there can be wise considering of the moment. This is, all the different ways in which the moment can be considered. and what to be considered in a moment. This is what it kind of came together yesterday when I saw that. And so I thought, to me, this was a very nice realization. It's a very nice realization that occurred.
The point is, like the Buddha stressed it, and how Ajahn has mentioned many times, it's not enough just to say there's seeing now, invisible object that is seen, or it's not enough just to say these are the khandas, Rupa Khanda, Vedana Khanda, and so on. It's not enough just to talk about ayatanas. So this moment, the reality now, life now, has to be considered and discussed in many different aspects.
Exactly.
And this is why the Buddha taught about the dhatus, the ayatanas, paticca samuppada, the
See
khandas,
it from all
and
different
so on,
angles.
because there is so much ignorance. And that's why there has to be considering about phassa, for example, phassa in
Like
paticca
Ajahn just said
samuppada,
enough to
phassa as khanda, phassa as dhatu, phassa at the moment of remembering. So without considering what is the truth now from different angles, different aspects,
Exactly.
the ignorance takes over every time.
No, I forgot. Can I come back to craving? You asked about what is an object of craving. That's very, very difficult questions. Could you please ask more about it? What is object of craving?
Is there no craving at all?
Not at the moment.
So that's the answer.
But sometimes I think about coffee. I
With
for
craving?
it.
Or no craving?
Think, then more craving.
Even one moment of attachment, just wanting.
So what is the object of that moment?
What is seen, heard, smelled, tasted, thought about, anything.
So it can be anything at that moment,
All the
That-
time,
or all the time. It dep-
almost all the time.
So that means it depends on the accumulation as well, whether how strong of
No matter the way you walk, no matter the way you eat, no matter the way you talk,
right. So that's accumulate, yeah,
to be such.
to be such. Okay. Ajahn, can I ask, just now I put some note, you say something about attention to no shape, no form.
Very good.
I know it's very high level,
Is,
but what do you mean by that?
is there a reality which is conditioned to arise all the time?
Is there a reality that
Which is
conditions
conditioned to arise all the time? Each
Yes.
moment.
Citta?
Yes.
Has no shape, no
No
form.
form. Okay.
Attending manasikara, it means wisely attending in the beginning by considering wisely about the nature of citta now.
Citta now.
so that that understanding accumulates until it understands the reality. Dhamma,
So that's
until it understands it well.
so that's when the truthfulness appear to the understanding. So it's pure. No shape, no
yeah.
form. That's why it's pure, isn't it?
At moment of listening, is there any attention?
At moment of listening, attention.
See, to every moment is there. We talk about pay attention or attend to, but it is there all the time, unknown. It's I, Sankhara Khanda, Upadana Khanda.
Yeah. Okay. ขอบคุณค่ะท่านอาจารย์
Seekers also have no shape or form, but they are not pure. Chitta is not kusala or akusala, but it arises with kusala and akusala chittas. So it seekers. So it is sullied by the akusala seekers, made dirty by the akusala chittas. But the chitta itself is pure.
Is there attention at moment of listening?
Is there attention? There must be.
Certainly begin to understand what is meant by attention. You say-
Every moment. So whatever the question, yes, is attention, but it can be at the moment of listening, can be wise or unwise attending.
Right. But it's so far away to understand that characteristic.
Only
I mean-
Panya knows that.
Okay. Huh.
When you are distracted.
Yeah.
It's also
Oh, attending to another object.
Each moment is there.
Each moment is there.
That when we talk about the three manasikara,
Yeah.
what is that characteristic?
The three manasikaras we talked about this morning. So this refers to three different meanings of manasikara.
Yeah.
One is referring to the Chaitasika manasikara we've just been discussing, that attends to the object at every moment. That
Yeah.
moments of vipaka, moments
I
of kiriya,
see.
kusala or akusala, and the other two kinds of manasikara refer to different chittas. The chitta, which is the gateway, the first chitta in the sense door process, and the chitta, which is the gateway for the javana chittas to arise, kusala or akusala chittas to arise, the chitta before they arise.
And this is Kunsara's answer, hers manasikara. And what about yours? Manasikara as well, but different or the
Totally.
same, depending on conditions.
โอเคค่ะอาจารย์
That's why we can talk about anything again and again and again, not to forget the truth of it.
Thank you so much ค่ะท่านอาจารย์
I think we will finish now. For those at home, the discussions tomorrow at the same time in the morning and the afternoon, 10:30 and 1:30. So hope you can join tomorrow as well.
Thank you. I don't know about the others, but